Hi everybody, thank you for tuning into my vlog. I'm excited because today we're going to be talking about composition, about layering, angling and use of space when creating a simple card like this. And the best bit of all is that we get to use one of the brand new Chapter 2 Tim Holtz dies. So stick around. So, as I said, we're going to keep this card here because this is what we're going to be working from today. And I wanted to cover my thought process behind making cards, setting a scene, telling a story, and just generally building a concept like this. Because there's more that goes into it, I'm sure you crafters at home will know, than meets the eye. So I've really thought about where I'm placing things, the composition, the scene that we're building, and I just wanted to share that with you. But first, I'm going to ink this element here. Incidentally, we are going to be using the funky cactus die set here. Now, this is one of multiple funky sets here. This is the cactus one. And just look at all these dies here that you get. So similarly to colorized dies, you're going to get that base shape, but you're also going to get layers of detail. So maybe light layers, maybe darker, shadowy layers that you can use to create dimension just within that die cut piece. So this set is fantastic. Guys, make sure that you go and have a look on our website and look at the Chapter 2 Tim Holtz range because it is fantastic. I've been so excited to work with these die sets. So, on with the make. Now, we're going to start with some crackling campfire. I'm using distress oxides for this make. I wanted it to be really punchy. Now, as with all inking, the idea is that we're going to come in slowly. We don't want to add too much in one go. We want to try and get a nice smooth inked surface here. So I like to start on the mat. That's a great tip. Start on the mat and just come in. Let the multi-tool blending head just go over the corner of that cardstock there. And we can ease up a bit towards the middle because we're going to cross these colours over and that creates a different colour in itself. But we want, obviously, to give the appearance of a sunrise or a sunset. I would say a sunset for this in the desert. As you can see, just circular movements. This tool just allows you to get such a nice even blend easily. Now I'm going to come in with a bit of spiced marmalade. It looks orange, but it's actually quite yellow. So I'm going to get that nice sunlit sky and it blends perfectly into that crackling campfire. Got some nice warm blends here. I might come a little bit further up with that crackling campfire just to make sure that it's nice and punchy throughout. And there we are. So there we have it. We've got a nice inked surface. As I said, I am going to come up a bit further with the crackling campfire, but this is all part of what I'm trying to show you. Is just my thought process behind it. When we crafters create a card like this, we're always thinking the whole time it's like a problem to solve. There we are. And just a bit further up. Get a bit of a bolder blend there. Not as smooth this time as I would have liked. but I'm happy. There we go. So, now, what is next? Well, we're going to die cut these pieces. Now, as I said, with these funky cactus dies, you get a lot of different kind of tones that you can build up over each other. So I've taken a range of green cardstocks from our Sizzix cardstock. So 3 of these greens, so this one, this one, this one. These are actually from our festive pack, which is odd because it's a nice warm summery scene. This one is Lush Leaves from our Colour Story card pack. Now, I will take these 2 colours and we're going to cut this die here. You might have to forgive me if... Oh, no, do you know what? I can see it right there. I thought that I hadn't brought my die pick with me. Turns out I've been diligent. So I'll use the die pick here just to take that out of there. And then we'll just clean it up a little bit. Actually, we don't need to. So there's my first die cut element. Then I'm going to go in with the lighter of these greens here. So this is a lovely olive green. I really love this green. It's one of my favourites. There we go. And I will just take this element out of here, like that. Now we're going to layer these over one another. And you can see that with these dies, they've got the embossed lines. So I know exactly, I can see an embossed line there. It might be hard to pick up, but I know exactly where I'm going to stick this lighter layer. So it is a good idea to probably use our adhesive sheets with these dies just so you get it really nice and clean. But for today, I'm just going to layer them up here right on my platform, like so. So there's one layer done. Now for my other layer, or my other cactus should I say, I'm going to use some darker colours because I'm thinking about the composition here. I'm thinking, well, I want one cactus to stand out from the other, so I want the colours to contrast. So you can see here, this cactus here is darker, this one's lighter. That creates contrast between these 2 cactuses, and it's something that, you know, it might seem obvious to some people, but if you haven't thought about it before, it might be something that you hadn't thought about that could really improve your game when it comes to creating cards. So I'll cut my main bits. There's a few main bits here from this lovely dark green here from the festive pack. It doesn't matter that that bit's coming off the side because that's extra detail. And I'm going to take this the middle element here. From that, then I'm going to take the detailed element. I'm going to cut that from Lush Leaves. And then that's all the die cutting that you're going to have to watch me do. And there we are. I can take these nice detail elements here, all comes off in one go, and then I can put my big shot to one side. So I'm going to take this white piece of card here just so that you can see exactly what I'm doing. So I will apply a little bit of my express glue just to some key areas here. As I say, this would work much better with some of our adhesive sheets, because with those you can just peel the bottom right off and it's all done in one go. So I'm going to use the bottom here to line it up, and already you can see it coming to life as an illustration. So I have my 2 die cut pieces here. Now, the first thing I did was I took my inked element here. I knew that I wanted white space around the outside of this card, and I know that I didn't want it to be uniform. Now, when I place these down like this, I'm looking at that. I can see it fighting against the colours just a little bit, and how we can remedy this is by bringing them up and adding dimension using some of our foam tape. Now, I will just add a bit to the back here. You can tear this foam tape right off, and then that's just ready to use. I'm going to do the same thing on these bits, but this time I'm really going to tear off just tiny thin bits so that it's not coming out from the back of the die cut piece. Like so. Now that looks bigger than it is there because we've got just the hangy offy bit on the back that I'm going to peel off soon anyway. Now I'm going to take my card base. So I'm going to take this and move it away. Now here's my card base. All the time when we're creating a composition, I'm moving the bits around and thinking, where's that going to go? Where's the best place for it? Now you can see, now that I've put some foam dimensional tape underneath these cactuses here, they stand out a lot more and they come up, and it just adds that bit more sophistication to the make. So I know already it's starting to come together. Now I know I want a sentiment on there. I have pre-printed my sentiment. So I thought, well, it's a cactus card here. I mean, you might want to start with a sentiment idea before you start building a card, but today I already had this sentiment that I just wanted to kind of illustrate using the cactuses. Now what I decided to do was have this as a strip that's going to go across my sentiment piece here. So you can see here again that I'm just building it up, and the fact that these are standing out on foam pads just creates that extra sophistication to the card, and there's a lot more punch to them. The shadow behind them is creating contrast in front of this blended element here. So I'm going to move these off to one side because I'm also going to use some foam tape to make this sentiment piece stand out. Now, I'll apply the foam tape to the back like so, but before I do this, I'm going to cut it down. I'm going to do that using my multi-tool with the craft knife head, like so. And what I like to do is just stick one end there, maybe down this side, and then I'm just going to slice it in half like that, and that's just going to create 2 thinner pieces that are easier for me to work with. So where did I put my sentiment? It was here. I'll move that to one side. Add this on here like that. I'm going to keep this part for later in case I need it. And now you've noticed that, so I took one of my other sentiment pieces I had prepared. The sentiment has been positioned to the right here, so I've got room for these cactuses here. Now I will peel this off and I'm going to add that to my blended area. So as you can see, composition wise, we're always checking what's going to look the nicest. So as we're making the card, I'm thinking, oh, you know, I could put these here, there, anywhere, but I want to create points of focus on the card, and that's where these cactuses work perfectly. So that's now stuck down. I'm going to add my cactuses. I'll stick them down. So I had added the foam tape earlier. I'll just peel off that top layer. Sometimes I need to use the die pick or tweezers just to peel the top off those pieces of foam tape because I haven't got any nails. That's my own fault. It's coming off slightly there. There we are. I have to ask you to just bear with me while I'm gonna have to master pulling the protective layer off the foam tape at some point, but I haven't quite done it yet. So there we are. Now I decided I wanted my bigger cactus like this in front of the smaller one, just because that's my preference. Now, looking at the bottom here, having them just overlap at the bottom, that's going to create a bit of kind of playfulness that's going to add to this card. So you can see that that's intentional. If I had, you know, only had it hanging a tiny bit off the bottom, then that might not look intentional. It might just look a bit, you know, dare I say it, amateur. But as we've kind of gone, you know, a good few millimeters off that bottom bit there, you can see that it's intentional and it really adds to the make. Now, what next? So I can see that I've got this space here and I thought, what better than a sunshine on this hot desert day. So just with two circular framelit dies, I used some Banana Blast and some Limoncello. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere these onto this element, but then I'm going to snip the top off. Or I say snip, we're going to slice it off with the multi-tool. So I'll just add a bit of express glue here. And I'm going to place this down here. Now when I place, you know, when I'm sticking one sheet of cardstock somewhere, I look at the kind of the texture on it. It has a line in it. I like the line to be going either horizontal or vertical. Again, that's my preference, but I just think it looks that bit nicer. Now, I placed this, you know, the lighter sun element, not directly in the middle there, because that looked too uniform to me. And again, it's about creating a really nice, lively composition here. We want to create kind of movement within the make. So I angled it to one side there, as you can see here, and it just creates a bit more of an illustrative feel. So we will adhere this. And again, we're going to do it just a bit skewed there. Now, I'll turn this over. I'm going to use my metallic ruler to protect my fingers. And we're going to use the multi-tool with the craft knife head, just slice those off. When I'm slicing, I do multiple soft slices, just because that's the safest way to do it. But then we've framed this whole area there. So there we are, looking good so far. Now I am going to apply some of my dimensional tape to this element here. And with this card, I used my craft knife to cut this at much of an angle there, and then placed this kind of perfect rectangle over it. Now that created movement and liveliness in itself, but I'm going to do it slightly different now. I'm going to keep this rectangle, so this is cut from our Bluebell cardstock, and I might just stick it at a bit of an angle. So rather than cutting it this time, I'm just going to stick it at a bit of an angle. You can do it this way, it also creates liveliness, but I'm going to stick this down at an angle. And again, it's about making sure that on looking at it, you can tell that that's intentional. I'm not just bad at positioning. And then finally, I will stick this at an angle as well, just a very slight angle. And then that's going to be ready to go. So let me just see whether I can get the foam tape off a bit quicker this time. There we go, there's one done. Getting better at it. And two. And there we are. So I'm going to stick that at a slight angle. And there we go. So we've got two slightly different cards here. This one, the only difference is that I've cut, this is not a perfect rectangle in the background, this Bluebell cardstock. The fonts are slightly different. I decided to go for a wider font on this one just to take more of that room up. But the key points were making use of any space. Don't be afraid of leaving space if you think it looks good. Sometimes use, especially of white space, can be much better and look really elegant in a make. So these fantastic Tim Holtz dies are what really finished it off. Again, go to the website, have a look through the whole catalogue of our Chapter 2 Tim Holtz dies, and you will be amazed what is on there. These amazing stylized collection it's just going to blow your mind. So these are what really made this make, and I could embellish it further with some of the floral elements from this die set, but you know what, I don't want to because I really love it as it is. And there we are. So I hope you've enjoyed it. So that's it from me. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found the video useful. I can't wait to see what you guys create using this fantastic new chapter by Tim Holtz. And I can't wait to see how you use some of the advice that I've given you in this video on composition, layering, angling and use of space. So thanks again for watching, and I will see you next time.